So I'm sure that you've all seen this mission statement before and spent a lot of time reading it, right? No, probably not. But here is our mission statement. And you'll see that in addition to providing excellent student-centered undergraduate and graduate education, we're working within an urban context. And we're seeking to integrate, in addition to just intellectual, spiritual, ethical, and social development. CEL is one way to do this. But in addition to our mission statement, kind of wrapping in why CEL matters, our two founding orders also provide a very strong focus on service for others. So we'll start with the Sisters of Mercy. I don't expect that anyone coming into my class knows all of this background. I am not Catholic, and I know many of you are not Catholic either. So let's walk ourselves through this. The Sisters of Mercy have these 5 main focuses that were decided: the earth, immigration, women, racism, and nonviolence. And you might see, especially when watch the videos for this lecture, when you go to your service sites, how some of these might be touched on in your community engaged learning. Similarly, our other founding order is the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, and their 4 focuses are shown here: showing the way to God, walking with the excluded, journeying with youth, and caring for our common home. You'll see that many of these as well could be integrated into the community engaged learning that you will be doing this semester. And then finally, kind of wrapping these things in to Detroit Mercy. Here are our core values. I pulled them right off of our website. We have educating the whole person. That's more my job, right? And part of why I have community engaged learning is I want to educate you as a whole person, not just a science student. Cultivating a diverse community. You might not have immersed yourself yet in Detroit to really understand the people who live here. Community engaged learning can help us do that. Embodying mercy and compassion, right? Having compassion for one another, regardless of our differences. Fostering faith and justice, again, integrated into this community engaged learning where we work towards justice for everyone. And serving and leading in Detroit, pretty straightforward in how it connects to community engaged learning. So all of this to say, folks, that this is who we are at Detroit Mercy. Hopefully it's part of the reason why you chose to join us here at this institution, because we are an institution that cares about each other as people and about the community where we reside. Now, a little bit about our community, okay? So the community engaged learning opportunities that I provide and I organize are in Detroit and Hamtramck. Hamtramck is a city within Detroit. So, in Michigan, about 1/2 to 2/3 of Black students and students who are people of color attend districts where 73% or more of those students come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. So 73%. That is compared to districts that are predominantly white, and only about 13% of those students in those districts will come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. So you can see a bit of a disparity here. Additionally, in Detroit and Hamtramck and populations or districts where we do have predominantly people of color, you're going to see less funding available. There are going to be fewer highly experienced teachers in classrooms. And studies have shown that the learning loss post-pandemic, while across the board is about a half a grade level, that learning loss is worse in districts with predominantly Black and or Latina students. So kind of going into the community and doing what we can to lift up that community is a part of why we do community engaged learning. All of us here at Detroit Mercy, coming here to get a fantastic education, we can use those resources that we have to help others improve their educational experience. What are the community engaged learning opportunities that I have for you? I have a variety to choose from. So the in-person opportunities that I am providing are Detroit School of the Arts, where you can go into a classroom to do some tutoring, Hamtramck High School, that you can either do in-classroom tutoring or you can develop a presentation for one of their science clubs. And then I also need to change this slide, but we work with service in the city through ministry, where you can do your service at Loyola High School or La Casa Guadalupana, and they will do the actual job of organizing that, but I will kind of send you their way. So you can see how all of these community engaged learning opportunities are kind of there to meet the educational disparities that we talked about on the previous slide. There are, of course, alternate things that I allow students to do. For example, I've had students who worked at the Gary Bernstein Clinic for some time and they wish to continue on with that as their community engaged learning. I am okay with that. You will take an availability survey where you tell me what type of service you want to do. And in that survey, if you are already engaged in one of those other types of service, as long as I find it appropriate, right, I will likely allow you to continue doing that. Or if you want to start working at one of those places, I'm also fine with that as well. It just kind of has to mesh with the reason behind why we do community engaged learning, right? And then I also have an additional opportunity because I know there are some of you who maybe work full-time jobs or who do part-time or full-time caregiving for a family member. And I don't want community engaged learning to become something that feels super stressful. So there's also a spot in that survey for you to tell me a little bit about your outside responsibilities to see if we can work out a different arrangement. You'll see that after this video, I've linked 2 more videos for you to watch. They are not my videos, but they are fantastic videos that review the history of Detroit, and I think they provide some important context for us to understand why Detroit is the way it is. Now, as we kind of close our discussion of community engaged learning, I do want to emphasize that your safety comes first. I want to let you know that I have personally visited all of these service sites that I offer, so not the ones that you might choose from, but the ones that I offer in Detroit and Hamtramck. I have been to all of these on multiple occasions, and I have felt safe at those locations. But I understand that the unknown often feels scary. And I know there are very many negative stereotypes about Detroit, right? I want us to kind of push past them to see reality, but also realize that yes, we do need to remain safe in our community. So please use common sense safety when you're going to your service site. Stay off your phone, be aware of your surroundings, right? But have your phone available if you need to. And if something comes up that I need to be made aware of, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Community engaged learning is not the only way that we are going to be engaging with our mission in this class. You will see in each module, I have one homework question that asks you to kind of synthesize your understanding of science and society. So only 4 of those throughout the semester. And I hope that you learn from these, or even if it's about something you already know about, I hope it provides you some time to reflect about the value of science in society. And you'll see how those different homework assignments relate back to some of the core values of Detroit Mercy, of the Sisters of Mercy, and of the Jesuits. In particular, we'll see a lot of those kind of focusing on the values of Earth, or care for our common home, or racism and walking with the excluded. Those are some main focuses of those homework assignments. And that wraps up my videos. There are 2 more for you to watch that aren't ones that I've recorded. You'll have 5 CEL assignments this semester, and Mission is not only integrated via CEL into this course, but also some homework assignments. Please, 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 either right now after this video or after the next 2 videos, take the Outlook form linked at the top of the page where you tell me about your availability. This form is not one of the 5 CEL assignments, but it helps me place you in a CEL location. I'll make sure to remind you in class. See you in class.